My name's Warwick Lissaman. I farm inland of Seddon. It's a 400 hectare sheep and beef, very summer dry property. Fairly traditional type of farming system, surrounded by viticultural activities these days. Farm's been in the family for 100 years, so it's a bit of a legacy to carry on with, I suppose. But yeah, so my interest in the dryland ukes sort of evolved really because I knew that there were places on the farm that trees were a better option than livestock farming, and you know, pest incursions and pest plant incursions especially will mean long term it's going to be harder and harder to maintain good pasture on some of these non-livestock areas, if I could call them then. So then I had to look for a species of trees that were going to give me a good option. Pines in this environment don't do well. They're poor, poor form, poor growth. The eucalypts sounded like a good option. The oaks probably for me are the perfect option, but they're a very long-term proposition, so the ukes fitted very well in that. Paul started this project and the timing was perfect really. I was looking to plant, Paul had trees coming available. We could get in relatively early when some of the demonstration trials were being formed, hence the one behind me. It's planted in 2013, and we've gone on and planted some small areas of our own and have a secondary trial site, breeding trial site now too. So yeah, that's where my interest has come from. Trees have multiple functions. Initially, you know, they can be the land use one is probably the best land use for that parcel of land. Obviously, shade for the livestock, flowering gums for the bees. They do add to the overall biodiversity. It's not indigenous, but it is biodiversity. I've even got a friendly stag, which we can't see today, but he's not far away. But you know, he's hiding out in the ukes when he's not out grazing. So yeah, there's just it's a bit more interesting, I suppose, with trees in the right places. So in terms of going forward to the timber, I mean, it's been quite interesting, even at the time that I've been working with Paul, is that things have evolved. You know, initially it was vineyard posts, maybe cross arms for the power company, you know, electricity company, maybe, and then other things have sort of started to develop. I mean, DOC spend an awful lot of money on treated pine, building boardwalks all around the DOC estate. I'd love to see ukes there. If you go to Sydney Harbour, you see eucalyptus all over the harbour. And now the next stage is the laminated timbers, and just potentially what that means is game changing for the building industries. So I'm looking at sawn timber, I'm looking at vineyard posts as well, coppicing some of the ukes to provide posts. Our viticulture industry is looking for other options. There's a lot of steel posts going in at the present time. Yep, the jury's still out on them, and I'd like to see ukes replace them. There will be a role for the Pinus radiata vineyard posts for a long time to come, but yeah, absolutely this creates opportunities. It's very small scale here in Marlborough still, but I think on this farm I've identified somewhere between 10 and 25%, 10 and 15% of the land area being suitable, mostly suitable for trees or planting of some sort. Now some of that is going to be indigenous biodiversity. I've got, you know, wetland areas, for example. All the species of trees will probably play a part, but the eucalypts will be the one in the dryland parts of that farm. So I'd say somewhere between 30 and 40 hectares of this farm probably ideally would be suited to being planted. So it's getting up towards 10% of the land area, and I won't get there on my own. as an individual. But that's the scale on this particular property, and so if you magnify that across the district or across our regions, our two main catchments in Marlborough, that's quite some area. And I guess the challenge then is to have that processing and that further processing here, the harvesting and further processing being scaled up to the point where it can deliver for landowners, I guess. Yeah, it's been great timing for me to have the opportunity to be involved. It's been I've always liked trees, but I probably wasn't encouraged as a young fella to plant them as much as I could have been, and it's taken too late in my life to start planting really. But no, it's get a lot of value out of, a lot of personal value out of being involved. Yeah.